Important definition. Absolute continuity. Absolute continuity. A real valued function f defined on close interval a comma b is said to be absolutely continuous on close interval a comma b if for any epsilon greater than 0 there exists a delta greater than 0 such that summation I is equal to 1 to n modulus of f of xi dash minus f of xi is less than epsilon for every finite collection xi comma xi dash, finite collection of interval xi comma xi dash where I is equal to 1 2 3 4 so on n of non-overlapping intervals in close interval a comma b satisfying summation I is equal to 1 to n modulus of xi dash minus xi less than delta. This is the definition of absolutely continuity. What the definition says: a real valued function f defined on a closed interval a comma b. This is the closed interval a comma b. This function is said to be absolutely continuous if it satisfies this condition. What is this condition? For any epsilon, however small positive number if we select, according to this epsilon there should exist a delta such that for every finite collection of intervals in closed interval a comma b which is non-overlapping, x1 comma x1 dash, x2 comma x2 dash, xn comma xn dash, for every finite collection of intervals which are not overlapping and satisfying length of this one plus this one plus this one is less than this delta. Whatever the epsilon we have selected, according to this epsilon there should exist a delta such that according to this delta whatever the every finite collection of interval whose sum of all the lengths is less than delta should satisfy this one, that is their difference of their functional values in each interval, sum of the difference of their functional values in each interval is less than epsilon. Then we say that f is absolutely continuous. Note: every absolutely continuous is continuous if any function is absolutely continuous on close interval a comma b, then f is continuous on close interval a comma b. Let us prove this one. Since given that f is absolutely continuous on close interval a comma b, then it satisfies the condition of the absolutely continuity, that is we get that for any epsilon greater than 0 there exists a delta greater than 0 such that summation I is equal to 1 to n modulus of f of xi dash minus f of xi is less than epsilon for every finite collection of intervals I is equal to 1 2 3 4 so on till n of non-overlapping intervals in closed interval a comma b satisfying summation I is equal to 1 to n modulus of xi dash minus xi is less than delta. Now I have to prove that f is continuous. So let us take x comma y b any two arbitrary points in open interval a comma b such that whose difference is less than delta. Let x comma y be any two points in open interval a comma b whose difference is less than delta. Then this interval x comma y is a subinterval of this one. Then x comma y is an interval in closed interval a comma b which is satisfying such that modulus of x minus y is less than delta. What this one says, every finite collection, this is also one of the interval in this one, only this collection, only this interval in the collection, this is finite, only one interval is there satisfying this condition. If there are two intervals, sum of the two intervals length should be less than delta. We got only one interval less than delta. Then this one satisfies this condition. Since we have only one, therefore what you will get, f of y minus f of x is less than epsilon. Hence by absolute continuous of f we get modulus of f of x minus f of y is less than epsilon. Therefore for any x comma y which is less than delta, we got modulus of f of x minus f of y less than epsilon. Therefore proving f is continuous on closed interval a comma b, but not conversely. If f is continuous, it need not imply that f is absolutely continuous. For example, you can give any non-uniform continuous function. Every non-uniform continuous function is not absolutely continuous. Important theorem. Suppose f is absolutely continuous on closed interval a comma b, then f belongs to BV of closed interval a comma b. Means every absolutely continuous function on closed interval a comma b is a function of bounded variation. We have to prove. Let, since f is absolutely continuous on closed interval a comma b, then for epsilon is equal to 1 greater than 0, there exists a delta greater than 0 such that summation I is equal to 1 to n modulus of f of xi dash minus f of xi is less than 1, for every finite collection xi comma xi dash, where I is equal to 1 2 3 4 so on till n, of non-overlapping intervals in closed interval a comma b, satisfying summation I is equal to 1 to n modulus of xi dash minus xi. This one I wrote by using the definition of uniformly absolutely continuous. Since f is absolutely continuous, then for epsilon is equal to 1 by 1 greater than 0, there exists a delta which satisfies this one, that is summation of modulus of f of xi dash minus f of xi is less than epsilon for every finite collection of non-overlapping intervals which satisfy this condition. So here we got a delta. Now choose a natural number capital N. Now choose a natural number capital N such that the difference of this interval such that b minus a by this natural number, if I divide, this should be less than delta. Whatever the delta here you got, according to this delta, choose a natural number such that b minus a by n is less than delta. Now choose the points c0, c1, c2, so on, cn in closed interval a comma b such that a is equal to c0, less than c1, less than c2, less than so on, less than cj, less than cj plus 1, less than so on, less than cn, which is equal to b, and difference of cj plus 1 minus cj is less than delta for all j is equal to 1 2 3 4 so on, the capital M. What it means here, this is the closed interval a comma b. According to the delta, we have chosen a natural number capital N such that b minus a by n is less than delta. Now choose c0, c1, c2, so on, cj, cj plus 1, so on, c capital N, such that difference of cj and cj minus 1 is less than delta. Now fix any one of the subinterval. Let us take any one of the interval, either this one or this one. Let us take this interval. Now fix a j in 1 less than or equal to j less than or equal to capital N. What is that interval? This one. This is that interval. That is cj plus 1. Now what is the length of this interval? Length of this interval is less than delta. Cj plus 1 minus cj is less than delta. Let xi comma xi dash denote a finite collection of non-overlapping intervals in cj comma cj plus 1. In this interval let us take this one is x1 comma x1 dash, x2 comma x2 dash, so on. These are the finite collection of non-overlapping interval in this Cj comma Cj plus 1 is this one. Then it is obvious that length of this one plus this one plus this one, length of all the subinterval if I add, that will be less than this length. That is, this length is less than delta. Then sum of all these lengths, sum of all these intervals is less than delta, because we have took a non-overlapping interval. There is no common point between any of this interval. Therefore, obvious that summation xi dash minus xi is less than Cj plus 1 minus Cj, which is less than delta. Since this non-overlapping finite collection of interval satisfying this condition, nothing but satisfying the condition of equation number 2. Since I got a one finite collection of interval which is non-overlapping intervals in this one satisfying this condition, therefore what you will get? Therefore, by absolute continuity of f, we get summation I is equal to 1 to n modulus of f of xi dash minus f of xi is less than 1 by equation number 1. Now, which implies that the total variation sum of f over this interval Cj comma Cj plus 1 with respect to the partition, this one x1 x1 dash x2 x2 dash with respect to the partition consisting of endpoints of the intervals xj comma xj dash is less than 1. How I can say what is the total variation sum on a particular partition if summation I is equal to 1 to n modulus of f of xi minus f of xi plus 1 minus f of xi is less than epsilon. That is the total variation sum with respect to the partition. Here we got partition in Cj and Cj plus 1 as x1 x1 dash x2 x2 dash so on. According to this partition we got a total variation sum of the function f over this interval with respect to the partition of the endpoint. These are the endpoints 1 2 3 4. Since this is true for any finite collection of non-overlapping intervals in Cj comma Cj plus 1. Therefore, we get that total variation of f over Cj comma Cj plus 1 is less than 1. Not only for this interval, instead of taking this interval you can take this interval or any interval. In each and every interval their total variation sum of f over that interval is less than 1 for all j is equal to 1 2 so on till capital N, since j is arbitrary. The starting we have to j is arbitrary, that is total variation of f over the interval cj comma cj plus 1 is less than 1 for all j is equal to 1 2 so on till capital N. Capital N. Now capital T a to b of f. Capital T a to b of f can be written as, from a to b I can write capital T from C0 to C1, C1 to C2, Cj to Cj plus 1 so on. This one can be written as summation j is equal to 1 to capital N T of Cj to Cj plus 1 of f. How many j's are here? N j's. For each and every one, 1 plus so on till 1, how many times? N times, which is equal to n, which is a natural number, which is finite. Therefore we got total variation of f on a to b is finite. Therefore f belongs to BV of closed interval a comma b. F belongs to BV of closed interval a comma b. Next important corollary. If f is absolutely continuous, if f is absolutely continuous on a comma b, then derivative of f exists almost everywhere on closed interval a comma b. Proof. Since f is absolutely continuous on closed interval a comma b, then the previous theorem says that then f belongs to BV of closed interval a comma b by previous theorem. That is, f is a function of bounded variation. Then what the Jordan decomposition theorem says, if a function is a bounded variation on closed interval a comma b, if and only if that function can be written as difference of two bounded monotonically increasing function, then f can be written as a difference of two bounded, because every bounded variation function is bounded monotonically increasing functions on closed interval a comma b. Say f is equal to f1 minus f2, where f1 and f2 are bounded monotonically increasing functions. Now what the Lebesgue theorem says, this one I wrote from the Jordan decomposition theorem. By the Lebesgue theorem, every monotonically increasing function is differentiable almost everywhere. Every monotonically increasing function is differentiable almost everywhere. Then f1 is differentiable almost everywhere, f2 is differentiable almost everywhere. Difference of two differentiable function is differentiable. So f1 and f2 are differentiable almost everywhere. Then difference of these two, that is f1 minus f2 is equal to f, is also differentiable almost everywhere. That is If it is differentiable means its f dash exists almost everywhere.